The most effective people in history are so good at what they do because they're able to manage themselves. One of the ways that you manage yourself is by managing your time. And if you can learn how to manage your time, you can do most of anything that you want to do. Stay tuned and see how you can learn to manage your time. Before we get into the concept of time management, you need to understand Parkinson's law. This says that work always expands to the time you allow it. Some people get in the habit of always taking work home and working late in the evening because they just have to get their work done. It's important to understand if you have this is my shutdown time for work, and you learn how to say no, then whenever at the end of the day, if you didn't get all your stuff done, if you prioritize well, things can get moved to tomorrow or they can get moved to next week. Whenever you do that, you're going to create a separation between your personal and your work life, which is important because there will be no separation if you don't say, here's my work shutdown time. Understand Parkinson's law. Work always expands the time you allow it. If you've ever had a deadline come up, you can see, man, I can get stuff done way faster than I anticipated. So remember that when you're building your schedule. For you to manage your time well, you have to know where your time goes, define your values, and apply 5 strategies. Now, when we talk about knowing where your time goes, that includes knowing your time wasters. Where do you waste time? Ask yourself that. Throughout the day, what do you end up doing? Maybe doom scrolling or social media. Those are just a couple examples. Maybe you have a bunch of games on your phone that you need to not delete all the games, but you continuously get distracted. You got to know where your time wasters are so that you can better prepare. And you also want to strategically place certain work during certain times of the day. There's an idea called green zones and red zones. When you're in the morning working, you're much more fresh. But when you're in the evening, that's like a red zone. The morning's like a green zone, evening's like a red zone. For some people, obviously some people are night owls too, so the evening is like a green zone. But know when you work best, and then put the most important things during those times where you work the most efficiently. You also need to have a bias towards action. I learned this from one of my teachers in seminary. Every time I would turn in a project, 2 seconds later, I mean, that's exaggeration, but literally within the hour, a lot of times he'd have it graded and put up on the website. And I'd be like, how does he do it so fast? One day I asked him about it, and he said, honestly, I just have the fight or flight mode, and then when it comes to work, it's fight. Like, he just does all his stuff for the week as soon as he can. And because he stays in that habit, he's able to get all kinds of things done because he has a bias toward action. Instead of sitting around thinking about how you can get something done, start doing something, even if it's not the most efficient. Just get going. Have that bias towards action. It's going to help you know where your time goes. Also, handle your items as few at times as possible. This is a great example when it comes to mail. So when you get mail in, I have a bad habit of I'll look at the mail and then I'll set it down and I won't do stuff about it. I try to get onto myself and only handle the mail one time, because if you have to handle the mail twice, you're wasting time the second time. If I have the thing that I can throw away, I'm not going to set it on the counter. I need to throw it away. I'm reminding myself of this as I'm telling you guys. But when it comes to your school and when it comes to just life and time management, make sure you only handle things once if possible. If somebody asks you to do something, put it in the calendar and then tell them yes right away. Don't just leave the message hanging on your phone waiting to ping you again, because if you do that with 5 or 6 things, you're getting distracted all day long. So handle the items as few times as possible. Also, pre-decide. Pre-deciding is like saying, I'm going to go to the gym tomorrow, and tonight I'm going to pack my gym bag. I am pre-deciding that at this time, I'm going to do this action. This is one of the reasons I really advocate for planning your week and having just like a basic week template. Every week you probably have to move some things around, which is fine. But if you have a planned time that's gonna go and you have the planned tasks for your entire week, then you are pre-deciding how your week's gonna go. You're gonna happen to your week rather than your work and your school and your week happening to you and bossing you around. Procrastination is also an important topic to consider when you're looking at where your time goes. And if you struggle with procrastination, I've got a few tips. Work on facing that thing head on. Choose to easily begin. If you can start with a really small part of that task that you've been putting off, that action tends to lead to motivation. And whenever you get started on something, so many times you'll realize, oh, this actually wasn't as hard as I thought. When you get started, it makes a difference. Find the easiest point to begin. So not only find the smallest thing you can do, but choose the easiest area of the project or the procrastinated thing. Choose that smallest, easiest area to get going on. Also, set your desk up for a decision. whenever you are going to work, make sure you can sit down and you don't have to spend the first 10 minutes cleaning or organizing. You do that at the end of the day or throughout the day, so that whenever you get going and work starts, you're able to start right away and you're not even tempted to procrastinate and put things off because your space is inviting, you're organized, you're able to get right to it. Another fun thing you can do when it comes to knowing where your time is going is set daily time goals. Try to get this thing done by this time and just keep it fun. Whenever you keep it fun and challenging throughout the day, you're going to be more encouraged to do your best and get as much done as you can. Once you know where your time is going, your second task that you need to do to manage your time well is define your values. People have different values, and this is going to mean that time management for one person, it may be different than time management for another person. Say you want to have a certain salary, and that's your highest value. Well, the way that you commit to working more than 40 hours a week is in alignment with your values, and your time management, because of what your values are, your time management can be effective. Whereas say someone else really wants to work on a certain hobby, their time management may look different than yours because they want to put that time towards the hobby. Time management is not just getting as many things done as possible. Time management is putting your time towards what you value. And different people value different things. That's totally fine. But you need to decide, what do you value, so that you can make educated decisions when it comes to the different opportunities you have to spend your time in different ways. Success to one person might be different than success to another person. In fact, many times it is. Say you're somebody who is offered a promotion at work. If you value your salary more than you value the certain hobbies in your life, then you will probably take that, you potentially will take that promotion, and that is in your value system. So the way that you're choosing, to put your time towards something, which is work, it might be more than 40 hours a week, but you're okay with that because of your values. And then the person who has the promotion offered to them, but they value their hobbies more. It's not bad, but that person, their best time management may be to not take the promotion because they want to work on their hobby more. Different people have different values. You manage your time based on your values. So you got to decide, what do you care about? What do you want to be good at? What are the things that don't matter as much to you? And then say, okay, that's all right. Those are my values, and put your time towards the things that you value the most. This brings us to step 3, which is apply 5 strategies. The first strategy is don't put anything more on today's to-do list late in the day. I am horrible at this. When I get ahead in the day, I'm stacking things in at the end of the day. You're not supposed to do that, because you're supposed to finish your day. Okay, I'm done. Now I can spend time doing other things, but don't try to cram in a bunch of stuff from later in the week into your day today after your work hours. Okay, have your work shutdown time and be done. Okay, telling myself I need to be working on that. Strategy 2 is tackle the hardest things in your day first. That way you spend your freshest hours working on the hardest things, and then the things that you don't get to late in the day aren't the most important. Do the most important things first in your day. Strategy 3 is work on one thing at a time. Multitasking largely is a myth. Some people can do it. 98% of the rest of the population can't. So focus on one thing at a time, work on that, and don't get distracted, and don't try to do multiple things at once. Strategy 4 is take breaks. When your brain works on something for a very long time, it's much easier to get distracted and to get fatigued, and you're still spending your time on this project, but you're only getting half as much done because you haven't taken a break. Make sure you take breaks throughout the day. Strategy 5, acknowledge what you did accomplish. Another thing that I need to work on. When you acknowledge what you did accomplish, you're encouraged rather than discouraged at the end of the day. When you do what a lot of people, including myself, tend to do, pack things into the end of the day, then you feel like you never really got done. But the best thing to do in your strategy throughout the week is when you come to the end of the day, say, man, look what I got done. That's great. If things need to get moved, they need to get moved. Either way, you did the best that you could. There you have it, some strategies to be excellent at time management so you can be like some of the most effective people ever. Make sure that you know where your time goes, you define your values, and then you apply those strategies we talked about in the end. We'll see you guys in the next one.